There was a time when knowledge was sacred, when wisdom itself ruled empires.
All right, let's jump right in. For as long as we've had societies, there's been this deep, often invisible tug of war between two massive forces: what we know and who gets to decide what all that knowledge actually means. This is the story of that relationship, the story of knowledge and power. It seems like a simple question, right? Who decides what's true? But honestly, this one question has shaped empires. It's sparked revolutions, and believe me, it defines our world today way more than we probably realize. Who gets to be the final word on truth? So here's the deal. Let's break it down. We've got these two fundamental forces at play. On one side, you have knowledge, basically the sum of everything we understand about the world. And on the other side, you've got power, the authority to control, to govern, and, this is the crucial part, to define what even counts as knowledge in the first place. Now, to really get a handle on how this whole dynamic works today, we have to go back, way back. We're going to look at how the very first great civilizations created the original blueprints for locking knowledge and control together. Our first stop, the land of the pharaohs. We're talking about a civilization that lasted for 3,000 years. And here, the blueprint was incredibly straightforward. Knowledge wasn't just related to power, it was considered divine law itself. The whole thing was built on this one core concept called ma'at. See, for the Egyptians, truth wasn't something you went out and discovered through experiments. No, it was this pre-existing divine order of the universe. So knowing that order was power, and the pharaoh was its living, breathing embodiment. The two were totally inseparable. Okay, so while Egypt's model was all about divine authority, something completely different was starting to bubble up across the Mediterranean. In ancient Greece, a brand new idea was taking root. And this was a game changer. In Greece, for the first time, you have thinkers like Plato arguing that power shouldn't come from divine right at all. It should be based on reason and wisdom. The whole idea was pretty simple. The people who knew the most about things like justice and virtue, well, they should be the ones to rule. So instead of being the same thing, knowledge was now supposed to be the direct master of power. And then, of course, came the Romans. These guys were the ultimate pragmatists. They weren't nearly as worried about divine right or pure philosophy. Nope. They were worried about building an empire that would actually last. And this is where the Romans had their stroke of genius. They figured out that to control a massive, sprawling empire, you couldn't just rely on one wise philosopher king or a single divine leader. You needed a system, an operating system for power. And that's what this is. They took knowledge and they codified it into law, creating a structure of authority that could outlive any single emperor. So, let's do a quick recap of the ancient world. You've got Egypt, where knowledge and power were fused into divine right. Then there's Greece, which tried to make knowledge the guide for power. And finally Rome, which used knowledge to build a permanent system of power. 3 totally distinct blueprints, all setting the stage for what came next. After Rome falls, Europe enters a totally new era. The relationship between knowledge and power was about to consolidate in a way the world had just never seen before. This one quote, it perfectly captures the massive shift in thinking. The whole idea of going out and seeking new knowledge just kind of faded away. Instead, the belief was that all the important truths had already been given to humanity. They just needed to be protected. And so, for nearly 1,000 years, a single institution, the church, became the ultimate gatekeeper of truth. It held the keys not just to scripture, but to philosophy, to history, to science. Knowledge and power were once again centralized, locked down in one single authority. But here's the thing about monopolies: they don't last forever. A new way of thinking was just on the horizon, one that would completely shatter this model and rewrite all the rules. It started quietly, with a few astronomers and natural philosophers looking at the stars. But it grew into a full-blown revolution. Science came along with a radical, almost dangerous new idea. That truth wasn't something to be guarded in a vault. It was something to be tested and discovered out in the open. And this right here, this is the engine of that change. The scientific method. It wasn't just about cool new discoveries. It was a whole new process for knowing things. And the most revolutionary part? anybody could use it. This took knowledge out of the hands of the powerful few and gave the tools to the many. Which, of course, brings us all the way up to our modern world. I mean, with the old gatekeepers gone and science giving us this universal method, it really seemed like the link between knowledge and a single central power was broken for good. I mean, that was the great promise of the Enlightenment, wasn't it? Information for everyone, democratized knowledge, power that had to answer to reason. But did it really turn out that way? Yeah, the reality is a lot more complicated. Power didn't just, disappear. It just got harder to see. It shapeshifted, moving away from obvious authorities like kings and priests into something way more abstract, almost invisible. See, today, power lives in these vast impersonal systems. Just think about it for a second. The market often decides which scientific research gets funded. It rewards profitable ideas, which shapes what we even get to learn about. Government bureaucracy takes incredibly complex data and boils it down into official policy, defining official truth. And now, of course, the algorithm is quietly curating our reality, deciding what news, what facts, what opinions we even get to see. Power didn't go away. It just became the invisible architecture of our world. And that leaves us right here with the most critical question for our time. As we try to navigate a world of literally infinite information and the rise of artificial intelligence, that ancient struggle between knowledge and power hasn't ended at all. It's just entered its most complex and confusing chapter yet. So who, or maybe what, is writing our story now?
Maybe wisdom never lost its power, Hu. We just stopped calling it that.